So before I became a medical student, I was a lawyer. Before I became a lawyer, I was a student, I guess. And along the way, I found wonderful people who taught me great things and mentored me, right? And the idea is that I didn't know a whole lot, and I wanted to meet people who taught me things about how to be the person that I wanted to be. That's great. However, I realized I'm really bad at it recently, mostly because in my aspirations to be a dual lawyer doctor, there weren't many people who had done that before, and I kind of just reached out to whoever. And one guy led to another who then was like, hey, I've got this great person who's an absolute amazing guy. He's super brilliant and he'll teach you everything you could possibly want to know about going from law school to medical school. And it's worked out for me so far. I'm in my second year. However, I found out that it didn't work out for this guy who was my mentor. See, Dr. Rudell Saunders was trying to compete for the Diddy Olympics when former UC healthcare doctor performed genital ultrasounds in his apartment building. And see, I knew this guy because get this, he's not just a former doctor, he's also a former lawyer and also has a PhD. And the PhD doesn't stand for anything good here, because this guy was inviting people into his apartment to do test ultrasounds on your heart, which apparently is below the waist according to Dr. Saunders. There's a lot of questionable anatomy there. But why am I bringing up this other than just to dunk on someone at 1 a.m. in the morning? It's choose your mentors wisely. See, I met this dude and thought he sounded like he was probably the coolest and most smart person on the planet. He was in his early 40s, but he had all these big dreams. He was planning to run for Congress, and he had a family that he cared about taking. He doesn't have family personally, but he had a sister or something, and he was like, yeah, look at all these things I've done with my life and all the things I want to be doing and all these great things that I had no idea. He was filming people in his bedroom. Granted, I was never cool enough to make the bedroom ultrasound list, so great. However, I spent a couple hours on Zoom with this guy who I had no idea had all of these skeletons in his closet. So it's pretty easy to look at someone who has all these things that you want and more, and then you don't realize that their life actually is awful and you don't want to be them at all. And to be honest, I think this guy would probably want to switch places with me right now. He went to law school, but he never became an actual licensed attorney. He got a PhD, but he doesn't teach. He's a doctor, but doesn't have a license now because it got stripped away, and I'm not a doctor yet, but at least I'm going to be one. I'm also not facing prison time, which is a positive thing, I guess. But if there, I feel like there has to be a positive thing you take from these situations where you're like, wow, I'm a better person now because I realized I won't ultrasound people's balls or something. I don't know. Moral of the story, I guess, is be careful who you give your own future to, who you listen to, who you're vulnerable with. It's something that even with my classmates right now, where one of them, hello Val, if you're watching, has found my YouTube channel, and it makes me feel really exposed and oh no, people are gonna see me for me and I'm weird. But it's better to be authentic in who you are around other people than fake and creepy. At least that is something that I've learned after reading headlines over someone that I knew that apparently was creepy and inauthentic. But that's really the long and short of my thoughts on this. I didn't really have a plan to make a video tonight, and then I just felt like, wow, that's awful that person did that to people. And you know what? I'd like to talk about it on the internet with strangers. So yeah, be careful who you pick as your mentor, I guess. Subscribe, comment. Do people still say that anymore? I don't know. It's 1 a.m. I'm going to bed. Good night.